Welcome back, everyone. So it's been a long time since I've made an update video on this plane. A lot of things have gotten in the way of building this plane. As you can see, we have a new location here, but finally got it painted, so that's a plus here. So I went with a red, black, and white paint scheme, which is similar to all the other planes I've built, but it looks really good, I think. Chose the number November 624 Echo Charlie. So I got the elevator and the rudder hinges glued in and ready to go. I got the I already punched the holes for the push rods for the elevator and rudder. This one got kind of jacked up, but I'll clean it up later with some paint. And then this one's for the rudder, and they're both going to pop out here, and I'll glue the servos in somewhere wherever looks good. For the windows and the N number on the back, I use these 3D printed templates that I just made in Fusion 360, and then I just trace it out with a permanent black Sharpie marker. So that's how I got these windows to look all very similar. The rest of the paint scheme, I just used masking tape and kind of eyeballed it to make it look roughly even on each side. Here's the wing. I put the N number on the engine nacelles too, just on the outboard sides, and I've got the ailerons and the flaps hinges glued in. I went ahead and glued in the servos. Still have to paint over them so it kind of matches the rest of it. And I need to put the control horns in. I already have the lines marked for where they go. But I started to clean up all the wiring and figure out how I'm going to attach the wires to the fuselage wiring harness. So I've got the 4 servos on the wing for the flaps and ailerons already connected to the receiver, which I have permanently mounted on the wing. And then I've got the 6 motor wires, which are going to go to the ESCs, which are going to be in the fuselage. I'm just using these XT60 connectors, and they're color coded, and one of them is reversed so that I hopefully won't plug them in wrong. And then I've also got a black XT60 connector, and this is for the 5-volt power supply that's going into the receiver. So I have 2 wires for the positive and 2 wires for the ground, just that plug into it, just to hopefully not put all the current on one of those little pins. And then here's the main wiring harness that's going to go in the fuselage. So I'm planning on using 2 batteries, so I have 2 XT60 connectors, and they both are joined together, and then they both split again to go to each of the 2 electronic speed controllers. I'm using this 5-volt BEC with 8 amp max current from Ready Made RC, so it's tied into the battery wires over here, and then its output goes here and goes to the other end of that black XT60 connector, which plugs into the wing. And then I've got these 3 XT60 connectors for the motor wires. They go back to the ESCs. And I'm currently working on the servo connections for the elevator, rudder, and the 2 ESC controls, which will eventually be tied in to some wires that will come out of the receiver here. But I'm going to try to make that as efficient as possible and have the least number of connections as possible. I also cut a hole out of the top of the fuselage here for access to this main compartment where I'm planning on putting the batteries and all of those wiring harnesses. And then here's the hatch itself. I cut 2 little indents on each end so I can grab it to pull it out. Here's what the plane looks like fully assembled with the wing on the fuselage. So I think it looks really good. I like this angle here where the paint almost lines up with the engine nacelle and the fuselage paint stripes. Looks pretty cool. And I got these really big rubber bands that I got at the office supply store. So my plan is to wrap them diagonally across the wing there and probably put 4 or 5 in each direction. That should be strong enough to hold the wing on. So really all that's left to do on this plane is assemble the push rods for all the servos. Still have to glue in the elevator and rudder servos. And then the hardest part, which is making the landing gear wire. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.